G'day mates, in today's video we had the FNCS Invitational officially announced, and along with it some crazy new information about the future of competitive Fortnite. What is the next game mode? Are we going to get a Winter Royale? Are we going to get a World Cup? They also potentially leaked Shockwaves coming back to the game in the announcement trailer. There was also a little bit of drama about the talent that are going to be on the broadcast, some big names like Hub and Levin 2K missing, and I also want to talk a bit about the Invitational. Where are some of the big pros dropping? Who's contested? And what are some of the storylines coming into Invitational? Also, in case you guys are confused, Fortnite did just announce the double movement is going to come as standard for all mouse and keyboard players. It's going to be in the settings. You're no longer going to have to run crazy software. If you don't know what that means, don't worry. I'm going to explain how that all works at the end of today's video. So let's just jump into it. Fortnite finally officially announced the FNCS Invitational. You guys already know a lot of the details. It's the $1 million LAN event taking place next month, November 12th and 13th. I'll go through some of the extra details, but I wanted to go straight to the most exciting point, the part that has me so excited. So at the very bottom of this blog post, they talked about buying a ticket and going to see the LAN event in person. But at the very end, they said you will be able to purchase special FNCS Invitational merch and see firsthand what's coming next in Fortnite competitive at the end of the show. And this is what's gotten a lot of people incredibly excited. We are confirmed to be getting a major announcement at the end of the Invitational. Now, what could these be? Could it be a World Cup? Could it be the next FNCS game mode? Could it be a Winter Royale? And a lot of people are asking me what I think it will be. And obviously, this is just my guess, but I think best chance, maybe a major tournament like a Winter Royale, and I'll get to why in a second. Maybe we could hope for a World Cup. I've always told you guys, don't get your hopes too high. We never know if we'll get another World Cup. We don't even know if World Cup was worth it to Fortnite. That's a whole nother topic of conversation. I think at least it will be what's coming next for competitive. Is it going to be a new FNCS game mode? Are we going to have an FNCS anymore? Is there going to be an entirely new competitive structure? Those are the questions people are asking. Winter Royale, do I think that is likely? I think it is quite likely. A major tournament, maybe not as big as the original Winter Royale, but some kind of major winter tournament to generate hype again for competitive, because just look at the timing of the tournament. It's November 12th and 13th. We know the new season is going to launch on December 5th. Some people even going so far as to say this is going to be a new chapter kicking off for this new season. There's already a lot of hype going into it, but there is going to be a large break in competitive. If this tournament's on November 13th and we have about 2 weeks until the new season starts, you have to imagine there won't be too many tournaments, or at least they won't be major tournaments. Then we have the season kicking off December 5th. Even if they follow the same trend they just followed with this season, where we only have 1 week until tournaments kick off, that's mid-December, and that's usually when Epic starts to go on break coming into Christmas, and they take a long break over the new year and don't come back until January. So that means we would not have a major tournament, at least like an FNCS or anything except for small cash cups, for almost 2 months, at one of the most important times, I believe, in competitive Fortnite's history to start generating some hype. I don't want this to be like another World Cup where hype was sky high and then we had something completely crash it, like a break at the end of the season, like we had unfortunately with the mechs in Season X. A lot of people finished World Cup so incredibly excited, and the mechs kind of ruined that a little bit. When Epic puts this effort and invest in these big tournaments, they've really got to catch that hype and keep pushing it. They got to keep running while they have everyone with them, and I think Invitational would be a good time to do that. Do I think they're going to announce a World Cup? I don't really know. It would be incredibly exciting. Obviously, this is the first major LAN event. As long as there's no major issues, it would motivate Epic to want to run more LAN events. I just hope they're going to get the return on this. There's going to be enough hype. There's going to be a lot of excitement coming into it. I'm going to do my best to be generating that hype. I am doing my own broadcast, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but I don't know if they'll do a World Cup. At best, you have to imagine we're just going to get some answers on what is next. What's the next game mode? Is it going to be an FNCS? Because right now, people are really burnt out, and I think a lot of it is just confusion. This is what it felt like at the end of last chapter 2, when it was trios all year and everyone just wanted something new. We had the Grand Royale, which was getting people quite excited, but as soon as Grand Royale ended, it was like, what's next? What's happening? We've just had a whole season now with no FNCS. We have this new Elite Cups, which have been really good practice for people in Contender and Challenger Division, but I think it really has left a lot of the Elite and top pros demotivated, and I think people just want to know what is coming. What do I have to look excited for? We have a Christmas season, and we could have a Winter Royale that then leads into a massive FNCS. This could be the big boost the competitive Fortnite needs. Going through the rest of the blog post, there's a bunch of information you probably already know, but you might not, so I'll cover it. The prize pool is going to be $1 million. It's going to be a 2-day format on November 12th and 13th, 6 games each day. The format is going to be 32 points for a win, and each elim is 2, which is a pretty standard format for a lobby of this caliber. First place is going to get $200,000, and last place is going to get at least $1,000. That's where the $1 million is going. They also announced Twitch drops, and if you guys don't know how Twitch drops work, basically it's just free cosmetics you get in Fortnite by linking your Fortnite account to your Twitch account and then watching streams. Now, they normally do these in the past. Usually it's like an emoticon or a spray and nothing anyone really cares about. We did get the back bling recently. That had people really excited, but this time around, they specifically mentioned these drops will not be coming back, but they may become available in the Fortnite item shop at a later date. There is no reason for them to say that if it's just going to be emoticons and sprays, because they are never in the item shop. So at the very least, it is going to be a back bling. It could potentially be a pickaxe. It could be a gun wrap. It could even be a skin. And I'm biased by this, obviously, because I stream on Twitch. I do big viewing parties for these tournaments. It would absolutely help my viewership massively if they brought out a cool cosmetic. But I genuinely think this is the time when Fortnite really needs to get behind Twitch drops and use this to generate more excitement for the Invitational and for that announcement. If you really want to have maximum eyes on this, you want to try to capture the casual community and bring them back into watching competitive Fortnite, Twitch drops would be the way to do it. This is the LAN event. You have players from all around the world on a stage in person, and every region's being represented. Everyone has someone to cheer for, and something like big Twitch drops of like a really cool skin would bring people to watch that and be like, wow, maybe I actually enjoy watching competitive Fortnite more than what I thought, because this isn't just a cash cup. It's not even just a regular FNCS. It is the LAN event. So I really want to see if Epic does pick it up and do a big Twitch drop. It would be incredibly exciting. Speaking of the broadcast, this is where we get a little bit of drama. We did have the news break that neither Reese Hub or Levin 2K are going to be on the broadcast. This upset a lot of people, as they are two of the major pillars in the competitive scene that are still on the broadcast. Two of the people that hang out with the pros, you know, watch the tournaments, make content on them, play the game. They're just the two most forward-facing faces within the scene, and it has upset people not to see them on the broadcast. But have no fear, I knew this was coming, and I have talked to Reese Hub about this. Reese Hub and Levin are going to be joining me on my own broadcast. I will be hiring a producer for this. I'm going to be putting in as much effort as I can to make this feel like a special broadcast. I always put a lot of effort into my viewing parties for these major tournaments, but this being the first major LAN event, I'm really stepping it up. I want to invest a lot in this. I want to get people like Kinch Analytics involved so we get some cool stats. I just want to make it feel like a broadcast by the community for the community. So twitch.tv/Aussie Antics, when the tournament's on, I'll let you guys know. I also want to make some cool YouTube videos coming into the Invitational, do some spotlights and maybe some stories of the players to really start getting you guys hyped for this one. So I know it's really sad to see Reese Hub and Levin not on the broadcast. A lot of people were incredibly upset, and I think rightfully so, but could be a blessing in disguise. We're going to do something cool, I promise. One of the most exciting things to come out of this official announcement of the Invitational was actually a potential leak of an item that might be in the Invitational. If you look at 20 seconds into the video, you can very clearly see that there is a shockwave above them announcing the date of the Invitational. There is only one other item in this entire trailer, and it's the chili chug splashes we just had added to the game and added to competitive. This has had a lot of people incredibly excited or incredibly upset, depending on your views of the shockwave, but I myself personally, a little bit of spice. We've got a lot of fun items in the game right now, and I think we do have the best meta we've had of Chapter 3, and a lot of people would agree, despite vibes being a bit down, and I think shockwaves would be really cool to see how we go. If they are added to the game, I really hope they get added soon, because it's going to take pros a lot of time to practice with these. We're at the first point, I think, in seasons where right now there's too many items to carry. Do I carry chrome splashes? Do I carry launch pads? Do I carry a sniper? Will I now carry shockwaves, chili chug splashes? There's so many items in the game right now, and I like that. I'm totally fine with Epic going more down that line, but I don't know. I'm not going to say shockwaves are guaranteed coming back to the game, but out of all of the items they could have picked, and they've deliberately edited that in there, why shockwaves? Speaking of the Invitational, on top of OCE already being a little bit wounded now with the fact that Volks was banned and now no longer able to come, Luda is now playing with Muzz, which is looking pretty good. In their first tournament, they qualified through Contender. Second tournament, they were through Challenger, and now they've already made the Elite Finals in their first time playing Elite together, getting top 10. So they're looking good, but they aren't the OCE team coming into a base in their qualifiers. We now have Basil and Jace saying they're splitting up from playing together as a duo for the remaining Elite Cups of the season coming into the Invitational. You have pros like Queasy questioning why they're doing this, Jace saying they're just not even able to make elite on OCE. So things are looking a little bit scary for OCE's representation coming into the Invitational. We do still have Muzz and Luda playing well, but they're looking triple contested at the moment on the map. I'll talk about the drop map in a second for Invitational, but things are looking rough. I feel like Alex and Bailey are going to really have to step up big because they've got pretty much the entire region's hopes on their shoulder right now. Because even if Luda and Muzz do well, I know people are going to try and take it away from them, saying that Muzz is technically NA now. So I wanted to mention that one as one of the big kind of not team swaps, because obviously these guys still have to play together, but your chemistry coming into it, not even playing in your regional cups together, is going to have to be shattered. I want to take a look at the Invitational drop spot in a second, but I first want to talk about one of the big changes. Fortnite is finally enabling double movement as standard in the Fortnite Battle Royale. You don't have to use software like Wooting or Keys 2X anymore. You're going to have double movement. They tweeted out on Fortnite status, we're adding a new setting in our next game update. Players on mouse and keyboard will have the ability to alter their character's diagonal movement. With this setting, you can alter your diagonal movement up to the angle of movement that is achievable by default on controller. So this is essentially the double movement we've all been talking about. If you guys don't understand how double movement works, I'll link a video in the description down below when I explained exactly what it was when everything was coming out a while ago. You probably already know, but just a basic explanation. It gives you the ability to control your diagonal movement so you can sprint running sideways while looking a different direction. It's the same reason why controller players, because they're on a joystick, they can build walls one way while sprinting full speed the other. Mouse and keyboard players aren't able to do that unless they download software, which has been allowed, but now they're turning it on as standard in the settings. This is just a massive quality of life change. I don't know why it took Fortnite so long. This double movement has technically been in the game in Save the World on mouse and keyboard for a really long time, and they just decided not to turn it on in the Battle Royale. This also means all the drama around pros not being able to use double movement at the LAN event are now gone. Pros were told they weren't able to download their double movement software on the LAN PCs like Wooting, like Keys 2X, but now that it's in the settings, they will be able to just turn it on with a flick of a button, and they're all going to have double movement. I love that. It increases the skill gap of mouse and keyboard. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're on controller, that's another advantage mouse and keyboard have. Firstly, this is an advantage mouse and keyboard have had for a long time now, but I did see a lot of the comments of people arguing that's awesome. Now give controller single button edit reset. And honestly, I agree with that. I'm totally fine with trying to level the skill ceilings of both inputs and picking them both up. I don't think you should be making one input worse like mouse and keyboard just so controller can have an advantage on movement. But then when mouse and keyboard have an advantage the controller doesn't have, they should gain that advantage. I want the skill ceiling to go up for everybody. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out. It will be in the next update that could potentially be in a few days. Maybe this Tuesday, the 18th, will be the next major update where this will turn on. I can see this having an issue. I want you to come back to this video and comment if when they drop double movement, there is some kind of a glitch or bug with it. I just have a feeling something is going to go wrong. I don't know why. I'm going to do a lot more videos talking about the Invitational and where people are dropping and who's going up against who in the future, but I wanted to at least give you a little bit of an overview of the map right now and talk about some of the stories that are developing coming into the Invitational. We do have currently Shifty Shafts, like I just said, being triple contested. Luda and Muzz, one of the OCE teams at the heart of that, going up against Larson and Smite and Queasy and Vino. Queasy and Vino originally were going to be dropping somewhere else, but now with Shifty Shafts gaining the Rave Caves blimp, they want to come back and see how that one plays out. There are a few different drops that are triple contested. You have the east side of mid-map. You have, I believe it's Zagu, Merum, Centered Cold, and Pars and Rays. So 3 teams going, not a massive amount of loot there. You've got 3 teams going just the north side of Tilted, Acorn Edgy, Vico and Jixon, and then Bad Sniper and Noah Riley. Not even all of Tilted, just the north side of Tilted. We do have Joneses going back to being contested. Pinkin and Ars talked about how they weren't going to drop at Joneses on Clicks and Dukes. That has now changed. Looks like they are going to be contesting them going head to head. Another triple contested drop, which is just the old butter barn. I don't know why this is so contested. Again, the blimp is now here as well, so I guess it is solid loot, but triple con is a bit much for me. We have Barca and On One from West, Vortex and Hen, and then Zeet maybe, and KBR. again, looking pretty sketchy. We have Malabuka Mustache going up against Aqua and Rezon over at Kondo. That'll be a super fun one to watch. We have, again, another OCE team, Bailey and Alex going up against Zhu and Stompy over at Coney. We have Artor, Mixon, and Phison and Ketos contesting each other on near that mid-map section. Tayson, Chapix, Commandment, Avery, and Thomas and Tripper all going the Rave Cave. That is 3 teams, but there is enough loot at Rave Cave for 3 teams, even with the blimp now being gone. So I'm interested to see how that one plays out, whether they will actually be fighting. Some of the other big names and big teams you're probably keeping an eye out for. We have Mr. Savage and iDrop going Logjam. Mr. Savage and iDrop have been a bit quiet so far this season, just mostly because Savage isn't streaming, but they have been doing very, very well and out of Logjam. It'll be interesting to see how they play out. We have Kami and Seti on the Kami split by themselves. Very, very strong for them, especially since Kami's split did get a big buff. The gas station got extra loot. They have the keys that the chests you can open with keys. They have the vault now as well. That is looking like a ridiculous drop from them. Miro and Booga at Chonkers, definitely one of the favorites coming into the invitation with that much loot to themselves, only up against Bevies and Vortexes, who might take a little bit of it, but we'll see how that one plays out. We have Peterbot and Jampa going over near Clix's Dukes, and we also have, again, the OCE team I just talked about earlier. Basil and Jace gone up against Kuel and Yumi. Some of the other big teams I've got an eye out for, Pamstu and Fatch, I think are one of the underrated teams coming into this from NA. They're on their Lighthouse split, which does look pretty weak, but at the same time, they've done very, very well out of there in the past. We have Whale and Reet going mid-map, and they're right next to that big triple contest. I don't think mid-map will stay triple contested. If it does, Reet and Whale will probably see teams or players dropping on at least some of their loot, trying to take it in amidst all the fighting. We have Yanis and Vidil going Greasy Grove. They've been going there for a very, very long time. They're looking incredibly strong out of that drop spot. I think one of my major picks to do well here. You'll notice there are some teams potentially missing or moving their drop spots around. Tayson and Chapix have moved several times with their drop spot. Thomas and Tripburn seem pretty comfortable on their south side of Rave Cave, but right now, looking at the drop spot the way it is, I do have big eyes on mostly the EU teams. They are the teams that are mostly uncontested. We have the big names on NA like Miro and Burger also getting their drop, which will be interesting, but I think it's going to be really tough for the smaller regions because it looks like most of them are struggling to get their own drop spot, or if they are getting their own drop spot, it's one of the much weaker edge of the map splits. So we'll see how that one can play out for a lot of these different teams. But as the map is changing week by week and these players are changing their drops week by week, don't expect this to be the last time I talk about these pros or where they're dropping. But I wanted to give you guys like a brief overview to start building those storylines now that the Invitational has been officially announced. All right, guys, if you made it this far, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.